What's up? What's up, everybody? Ron Harris here on the Ron Harris Muscle Channel, and it's the Monday after the Prague Pro, and it feels a lot to me like Wednesday morning after our presidential election a couple weeks ago. A lot of people were very, very upset, outraged, butthurt about Kamala Harris losing to Donald Trump, and today, a lot of people are very, very upset, outraged, angry about Chris Bumstead losing to Martin Fitzwater, but I wanted to do a video. I got an idea from a guy named Supersetman. I'm a big fan of this guy and his channel. He does a lot of virtual matchups, split screens with guys who never had a chance to stand next to each other, or just speculating how would so-and-so versus so-and-so. I've used some stuff of his before. I have the link to his original video that just came out today, I think, in the description. I'm also going to do it in the pinned comments, but I wanted to take a good look at a comparison he made on his video between Samson Dauda and Chris Bumstead, because we had a lot of people saying Chris Bumstead could be Mr. Olympia. Most of them at least conceded that he would need to put some more size on. The way he looked yesterday or this past weekend in Prague would not be Mr. Olympia. That's a great classic physique. It's a very good open bodybuilder. It's not Mr. Olympia. However, Supersetman did go to the trouble of giving us these comparisons we can take a look at to see the difference. And I want to go through them just as he did in great detail, but I want to give my take on this. So we're going to start with the front double bicep. Let me take this banner away. So Samson, much bigger, much better arms, far superior arms. The legs kind of equal. I think Bumstead's got some great legs. I think Samson's legs are a little bit bigger, but it's not a big difference. Samson does have a small waist. Chris's waist is smaller, but you can see his upper body is so much smaller. So Samson is 5'11" or 6 foot. You guys can argue that all day. Bumstead's about 6'1". Samson, 300 pounds. Chris supposedly was just under 250, 248. So Samson has over 50 pounds on him as a shorter man, a couple inches shorter. Front lat spread. Although Chris has a beautiful front lat spread, I love Chris's front lat spread. The shape is phenomenal, condition, symmetry, all that. Samson is just overwhelming in size here, guys. Overwhelming. It's not even close. But yeah, I agree. This is a great shot for Chris. There's no doubt. And he holds his own there. It's not like he's getting blown away and looks awful or anything like that. But Samson's clearly beating him in those two shots. Now, I know this is all, I'm going to back up one more time and say I understand that Chris would be bigger if he went to the Mr. Olympia. I understand that, but we're judging what we have to go by now. All right, let's go to side chest. Great shot for Bumstead, as we know, but it's also a great shot for Samson. Samson's side leg, even though Chris is damn good in the side leg, Samson is just so much bigger in that shot. Chest is so much thicker. Everything's bigger. Chris does have little better muscle separation. That's never really been a strong point in certain areas of Samson's physique, is that deep, clear muscle separation. But in terms of size, he's blowing away. Now, here we go. From the back, Martin destroyed Chris from the back, and Samson even more so. So much bigger. So here he is next to Martin yesterday. You could see Martin's back was much thicker and denser. Chris has a very nice shape and great detail, but there's not a lot of thickness there. Samson, so much more thickness, especially as we get into that lower back, the mid back. He's a much bigger, thicker guy. Even the legs from the back are significantly larger than Chris's. And yes, size counts in open bodybuilding. That's what a lot of the people making these comments are classic physique fans or they're Chris Bumstead fans. They're not open bodybuilding fans, so they don't understand. Size does matter in open bodybuilding. Yes, Chris looks phenomenal, but he's 6'1.5", 248. I know it's not the prize pick at the county fair thing, but when you have a guy who also has very good structure and shape like Samson, and he's got 55 pounds more muscle as a shorter guy. All right, so here we go. The rear lat spread, same thing. Of course, I'm going to harp on the back because look at the back thickness on Samson versus Chris. Chris is a work in progress if he really wanted to. Based on that speech he gave at the podium after taking second, no desire to do that. But he could build his back up. Samson didn't always have a great back. Samson's back didn't look like this a few years ago. Side try. Obviously, Chris, you can't hit it like that. That's the bodybuilding. That's the bodybuilding variation where you're pretty much straight up and down. You're not sticking that quad out like to the front like they do in Classic a lot of times. Even though Chris looks really good here, I still give this to Samson. He's so much bigger. You know, Mr. Olympia is open. There's a reason it's called open. It's because there's no weight cap. There's no weight restriction. You can be as heavy as you want. This was the first time Chris didn't have a weight restriction. He was up about 7 or 8 pounds from what we saw at the Olympia 5 weeks prior when he won the Classic Physique Olympia for the 6th time and retired. But, you know, he would need to be significantly bigger than that. So let's look at the last two. At Supersetman. You can follow him at Supersetman on Instagram as well. So dominant thigh, Chris is pulling a vacuum, which you're not supposed to do. Abs have never been a strong point for Samson. We know this. His thighs look great. Most muscular, Chris looks phenomenal, but Samson is just so much bigger and denser, fuller, rounder. Could Chris approach that level of size eventually? I don't doubt that he could. It would take a couple off seasons. A lot of people seem to think he could morph from this 248-pound version we just saw in Prague to a 270-pound version within less than a year at the Olympia next year. It's even Chris, as genetically blessed as he is, and he's a young guy, he's only 29, even he can't do that. So let's go to some of your comments. Let's talk, guys. What do we got? Samson's 305. CBUM is 245. All right, I mean, it's close enough, 248. So what's the math? 60 pounds? 60-pound difference. And Samson is, every time I said he was 6 foot, people kept correcting me saying 5'11". So let's say he's 5'11", because I don't want to hear it from you people. Bumstead has been measured several times at over 6'1". So he's 3 inches taller than Samson and 60 pounds lighter, give or take. That is a huge, huge difference. Smoke Dog, not Snoop Dogg, Snoop Dogg. This is in response to the question, can CBUM beat Samson Dauda? No, of course he can. It's a Stevie McNeck beard. It's a pretty good beard. And that's from, is it from The Office, one of the characters? I don't know. Let me save you time. The answer is no. Well, obviously, I think that was kind of I didn't need to say spoiler alert. I think most of us agree about that. But a lot of people were making posts, and they were definitely convinced that this is the type of physique that should be Mr. Olympia. It's like a modern day Frank Zane or Barry DeMay. It's got the aesthetics, but we've moved on. And that was a very, very unique era that bodybuilding had, the Frank Zane. So we had bigger guys. We had, Arnold, the Arnold era, then Franco, still a thick guy, 5'4", but he was 180. He was very, very thick and dense. So 77, 78, 79, we had Frank Zane. 1980, Arnold made a comeback and won. So we kind of have to, that sort of screws up my little analogy here. 81, we had Chris Dickerson, a smaller guy, about 5'6", give him 5'7", about 185, something like that. Next year was 83. Yeah, because Franco won again in 81. So 82 was Chris Dickerson. 83 was Samir, who was about 5'8", 195, something like that. So there was a time when we had lighter guys that were more aesthetically pleasing. And then we got into the Lee Haney era where he's a big dude. And then we had Dorian, we had Ronnie, Jay, Phil Heath. We've had much, much bigger, thicker guys ever since then. Let us click, though. Yeah, please click. Well, you guys click. I need some clicks. I need some views, guys. Samson is massive. In person, he is silly. Yeah, I think I still have his posing footage saved, loaded up, just so we can appreciate Samson wins, Samson finals. Yeah, Samson is a big, big man, okay? That is a guy about 5'11", 305 pounds, just massive. Stevie says, even though the answer is still no, shouldn't be comparing him to Martin. Well, we did that all weekend. I did those videos. I did a video Saturday, and I did a video yesterday about the judging in the finals, and I played all those comparisons. But this is an interesting question, Stevie, that I just wanted to address because I was seeing so many comments like Chris could win the Olympia next year. Chris could come back. So Chris would need a lot more size than he has. He's not going to put on enough size in one off season to beat a Samson Dauda, even though Chris has phenomenal shape, structure, condition is amazing. But you're not beating this. Chris is not beating this in 1 year. Maybe if he took off 2 years, went crazy on the drugs, went crazy with the food intake, did like what the Camel Crew used to do to people. Why isn't anybody talking about Sean? He looked crazy. We did talk about him yesterday. You want me to put him up while we talk? Sure. Okay, I can do that. I just want to show Samson Dauda, Mr. Olympia, because that's what the video is about. But I take requests here. That's I appreciate you guys being on here. So final call out. I'll play you. Yeah, Clarita looked great, but I definitely still give him third place. I think that was warranted. But he did redeem himself. He looked much, much better than he did 5 weeks prior at the Olympia. He got his fullness back. Legs were almost back. His upper body was completely returned to normal size and fullness. Next to Martin, he was out muscled. Yeah, I mean, I'll go back into that in a minute. Yeah, Sean has tremendous round. I mean, they call him the mini Ronnie Coleman. He's got so much muscle on such a small frame. He says 5'2". I've stood next to him many times, and my wife is 5'2", so I know how tall 5'2" really is. I'd say he's 5'1", maybe a little shorter, but whatever. He's packed with muscle. I think he told Giles he was 185 for this show, where he had been 174 5 weeks prior at the Olympia. So he managed to put on 11 pounds or regain 11 pounds of muscle and keep the condition. So props to him. But let's go back to Samson. Samson is destroying him. Yeah, I'll go back to that while we talk. Yeah. Do I doubt that? I don't doubt that Chris could put on a lot more size. He has not been training to gain size for years because he couldn't. He's been at the weight cap for Classic Physique this whole time, which, they've raised the weight cap a couple times, but still, he could not let himself grow unfettered, let himself grow to his heart's content, because he knew he would always have to come down to that weight, which I think when he started competing in Classic, it was like 230, and eventually it moved up to 242 over 2 increases. Mike says 3D muscle should be used for Heath. People throw around these terms, and they're not for everyone. Yeah, that's true. Mike, let me know. Do you want to go on? I'm going to send you an invite. What the heck? It's your work. I didn't want to get you in trouble if you're working. So I'm going to copy this and throw it in the group chat in WhatsApp. If you want to click on this, Mike, you're always welcome here. For Mike, putting this in the WhatsApp group chat. That's in our WhatsApp group chat, the Ron Squad, Mike. If you want to hop on, of course, I love when you come on the videos. So let's go back to another CBUM 204. Okay. We'll go back to your comments. CPD fans are like me when it comes to Ohio State football. Yeah, like I said, a lot of Classic Physique fans, they feel that there should be no open bodybuilding. Classic Physique is by far the superior physique. Here we are. Yeah, buddy. Let's get rid of this. So I want to see Mike. Can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you, bro. Good to go. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So, yeah, the Classic Physique fans, they're drinking gallons and gallons of Kool-Aid. And but like we've been talking about on Facebook this morning in our posts, size matters in bodybuilding and open bodybuilding. That's why, Martin, I don't think Martin should have got a perfect score. Do you?
No, listen, he wasn't the Martin that we saw in Vegas.
Yeah.
He was still good enough to win the show. People, listen, open is size, shape, condition for open. Listen, I told you on Facebook, I'm drinking the CBUM Kool-Aid, but people get so, I get it. He's like our Jesus, Ron. Like, this guy walks on water in a sport, but you can't let that blind. You have to cut the head off and just judge the physique, right? He's leaner, he was drier, but he wasn't as big. And that's, unfortunately, you don't see very many bantamweights winning the overall at the USA, do you?
No
matter how many.
It's actually, I think the only bantamweight to ever win an overall national title was Marvin Ward, and that was like 20 years ago.
At the Team U as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it wasn't at the USA, wasn't at the National North American. Right? Clarita looks phenomenal, right? But he's got to catch guys off, right, to win, like he did Sergio and Regan. Chris, we'll be talking about this for another couple of weeks, bro, until Alicante, right? But
I don't even know.
They got to realize, though, Ron, it's exciting, it's great, but it's open bodybuilding, man. If that's the case, then we don't need divisions. Let's just have men's physique, classic, open, 212. Let's just throw them all in the pot, and the best man wins.
Well, some people actually suggested that. I saw people saying, "Let's do that. Let's just do away with divisions." Which hey, I'd love to get out of a contest 4 hours sooner, wouldn't you?
My God, yes. Holy crap!
But you can't do that because you can't. We say apples and oranges, but you're comparing. Chris, they said these classic guys could all move to open and they would all be kicking ass like Bumstead. Like, there's only like one. He's our Taylor Swift. He's our Beyonce. He's our Jesus. There's only one Bumstead. You're not going to put, if Urs is great. I'm only using his example because he's also very good. He's top 3. You put Urs Kalicinski in that lineup, he wasn't going to be pushing Martin Fitzwater for the win. He probably would have been like 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that at best.
The only guy I think that can do really good is Mike Sommerfeld. With a little bit that he's a bodybuilder in classic. Urs, like you said, listen, I love Urs. I love the Miracle Bear, the posing, but he ain't beating Martin. Like he can't stand next to a king. Like there's a reason guys don't go from classic to open very often, right?
Right.
It's hard around the food. I like classic now. I wasn't on board, but the condition, I love the condition, right? But there's a lot more of the condition that goes into winning a show, And Steve was the head judge, I'm assuming, correct? Steve or Tyler?
It was Steve. So
well,
we don't get a Tyler video, unfortunately.
Yeah, but Steve knows what the hell he's doing, right?
Yeah.
He knows. Now, I could have seen CBUM get some first place votes on prejudgment. Like, he may have gotten 2 because the 2 highs and lows were cut off. So he may have gotten 2 first place votes. So, but again, around the arms, the quads have to come up. But dude, he's got a beautiful physique, man. You kind of wish, in the selfish meathead way, that he would have done bodybuilding instead of classic.
Yeah. Well, he could have done that because he turned pro as a bodybuilder, and the very next year when classic became a thing, or I think he turned pro in the first year that classic was around, but he turned pro, Bumstead, as a bodybuilder. He always had that option. He chose not to do that for a reason.
Yep.
He didn't want to push. Me and you were real about this. It takes a lot more gear and a lot more food to build a lot more muscle, and it's going to have an impact on your health. And I think Chris always had that in the back of his mind. I want to be healthy,
and that's smart, man. Listen, we didn't have that in our mind. We just wanted to get big and jacked and didn't care how we did, right? Yeah. He has the forethought of, okay, I want to stay healthy. I've got a child. What does he need to eat like 7,000 calories for like 6 months around? Or take over a gram of stuff for what? Like he's the top of the mountain.
He doesn't need the money.
He doesn't need the money. And 2, you know what, too, man? It's like everything else in our sport. People are going to turn on you. The more you compete, the more. Look at how Lunsford, right? The golden child. He gets what? Third place. All of a sudden they're like, oh my God, he sucks.
He sucks. He should retire.
He's terrible.
People are ruthless, savage.
Jesus,
look at this comment from SVG. I think CBUM could beat Samson with like 10 to 20 pounds. He has superior shape. So, again, we said it's about a 60-pound difference between these two. If you're factoring in height and weight, because Chris has at least, I don't know, you keep hearing 5'11" for Samson. I keep hearing 5'11" for Samson, not 6.
He said 6. I mean, really, that's like this one. That's an inch.
All right.
5'11", 6 foot.
Let's give him 6 foot, just for the hell of it. Bumstead is at least an inch taller, inch and a half, and he's 60 pounds lighter, 50 to 60, somewhere in that realm. That's a massive difference. Looking at this, even 20 pounds, he would look a lot better as a bodybuilder with 20 more pounds. He still wouldn't be anywhere near the size of a Samson. And Samson has very good shape too. To say that You can't say Samson has bad shape. If he had bad shape, Hadi would have beat him, Derek would have beat him, Martin would have beat him at the Olympia.
10 pounds of lean muscle tissue is hard. 20 pounds at this stage of your career and age, that's not happening. You can go to Kuwait. They may be able to make it happen for you. But in the good old US of A or good old Canada, it's not. You're not adding 20 pounds of lean muscle tissue. That's just not going to happen. So throwing around numbers like this, add 10. If you could put on 4 to 5, say 3 to 4 pounds of lean tissue every year, that's a good amount. At 3 pounds over like 4 years, people don't want to look at it like that, Ron, because we want it now. But that's 12 pounds of muscle over, and that's a good amount.
Well, I think his first off season, he's not going to do it. He already said he's retired, so this is all just talking out of my ass. Yeah. But he's 29 years old, and like I said when I did in the earlier part of this video, he's never really had the chance to go all out for size because he had to really focus on staying a certain weight for Classic. So I believe his first off season would probably be his best. Yep. I bet he could put on a good 10 pounds or more of new muscle the first off season. After that, it's going to start coming down. He's not going to be like he'll never be 300 pounds. I don't think he has the frame. I don't think he just has the frame to carry 300 pounds. No, he's a lighter boned guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
what was he getting off season? He was what, 260? He said off season. He gets up to.
So his off season was never very heavy, really.
No, and Ron, Paul Dillette was 6'1", right?
Yeah.
Paul Dillette was big. That's a 6'1" bodybuilder, and we know how big he was, right? So even at Chris at if we're saying 260, man, like you said, Samson still got 40 pounds at 260. Yeah. Andrew Jack, don't forget, listen, Samson, Andrew Jack, Lunsford ain't done. We got Hadi. Now, Bumstead, I think he can place top 10, maybe 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
But these are heavy. Like, people don't like. I think with video now, right? It's I don't know, man. If people just think, look, comparing videos is a fair comparison, right?
Yeah.
When we're there, when you're at that Olympia, bro, up close, or when I'm at Tampa, that shit, it's a different look than Classic and Open, right? It's a shot. Open guys are big. If you've never seen an open guy, especially an Olympian, I just sit there like this sometimes. Like I elbow Mandy every 5 minutes. Oh my God, look at that shit! Look at that shit! It's a freak show.
When we go to the meet and greets and the things like that, we get to stand right next to these guys. And like I said, and you're a big guy, Mike, but even you, I've seen you at these things go, fuck. Because some of these guys, you stand next to Chris or Mike, a big Rami or Chris, someone that's that big. It's just like,
Chris' arm was big in my head.
Yeah.
Dude, he was so big.
Yeah.
But listen, I think a lot of guys are fans of CBUM. They're not fans of the sport. Right? I thought Sean Ray won every Olympia. You're right. But when you go back and look, you're like, oh shit, Dorian looked pretty good there. And Ronnie was pretty dominant. Yeah. So you have to get the fan out of your system. Right? It's just, we're fans. Like, Ohio State is the greatest team ever, no matter what. I don't give a shit anybody says. Period. Well, you know what I mean?
I'm in Boston, and the Red Sox sucked ass for decades. They were awful. The Patriots sucked ass for decades. They sucked. But people around here wear the shirts and watch the games and go nuts for them because they're fans. I get it.
They're fans, Ron. And it's just, I'm a fan of, I love bodybuilding. That's what we came up on, right? Yeah. Everything else to me is just, it's like an appetizer. It warms me up for the open guys, right? It's all cool. And listen, I would love to see CBUM in New York. Can you imagine him doing New York?
Oh, dude. Before I forget, the one Aaron Clark, the 212 Pro, who's very good. He makes a lot of hilarious Instagram posts with this whiteboard that it's a different topic every day. He did one talking about guys like us, the old guys who go to the shows and we have to sit through all these other divisions. He said, it's like going to a concert and watching 15 bands that suck to watch the one that you came for. So I'm not putting the divisions down, guys. I'm not saying the other divisions suck. It's just the guys like me and Mike, we appreciate Classic 212. We appreciate all the athletes, but we really wake the fuck up when it's open. We're like, yes, all right, let's go.
I sit up like this. I sit up in my chair. I'll be excited. It's just,
There are
but
no bathroom breaks during Open. I'll hold my urine.
no. I'll go to myself. I'll wear Depends, bro. I'm not getting up during that thing. You know what I mean?
I want to recognize Lee Priest because he's posting, so I appreciate Lee posting here. He says no, he
awesome.
beat Samson. If Samson went classic, he wouldn't beat Chris Sting. Dude, how much muscle would he have to lose to do that?
Ozempic times 6 he would need today.
Classic 212. See, Lee doesn't want classic 212, just Open. And then the prize money Open 1 million. Well, I think we're getting there. I think we're almost there. Let me ask you this, Mike. If the Olympia decided to give, Chris Bumstead's made it clear, and we know he doesn't need money, but let's say they say, Chris, just to show up at the Olympia, we'll give you $1 million. And then whatever prize money you get, that's yours too. And realistically, pay-per-view is $75. If Chris Bumstead's in the Olympia, I think they could make back that $1 million and a profit well over that just from his fan base alone. If he's got 30 million fans, I know they're not all going to buy the pay-per-view, but do the math. It's worth it. Do you think in your craziest imagination something like that could happen?
Yes. Right. Listen, this is a business, right? Jake Wood is a businessman. Having CBUM some way at that Olympia, right? The numbers are going to go up. I would throw $1 million at him, give him whatever he wants to get him on that Olympia stage. The pay-per-views, bro, for that, if CBUM did the Open, I don't know, man. Like, do you think 1 million people would watch that?
I mean, maybe if they drop the price, I honestly think 75. They need. I'm not telling them how to run their business or what to charge for pay-per-view, but I think they had something like 7,000 pay-per-view buys.
Yeah,
was that about the right number?
About 7. Yeah.
How many more people do you think would have bought it if it was, say, $40 instead of $75?
Maybe because you know why too? Because people wait for things to come out on social media. They don't buy it.
Right.
They'll just wait for social media to come out, look at the videos, do it that way. And even the Olympia's on YouTube right now. Somebody threw it up there, right? You can watch the day after. But for us, the day that it happened, we got to watch that day. But I would get CBUM at that Olympia, whatever it took for him to get on that stage. But let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Would that take some luster away from Samson, from Hottie? How would they? Because if you put CBUM at the press conference with the Open guys, we want to hear from Chris, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And Samson's the defending champion. So you'd have to kind of, you know what I mean, kind of soothe over some egos, because we know some of these guys, pros, are very sensitive, right? They read a lot, they hear a lot, but they got egos like we do, bro. Like, if this guy's here, everybody gonna want to talk to CBUM. But I want to see it, dude. I'm petitioning Jake Wood now, man. Get CBUM at the Olympia.
I mean, I can't see them doing that $1 million thing, because it would be a slap in the face to everyone else.
Yes.
Like, you're giving him $1 million just to show up, and he would get a special invitation too. So to see someone get such preferential treatment, even if he is a rock star, even if he is our Taylor Swift and Beyonce, I know it's not going to happen, because it would just, the other guys would be so upset. It wouldn't be right. But did you see what happened here? I didn't tape it, but the MC, as soon as Martin got first place, he asked Chris to come over to the mic and be the first guy to speak, which, Giles and I were both like, what? Why would you do that? That's Martin's win. And then he called CBUM again, and Chris said, he said something like, this is Martin's day. Martin, he didn't want to talk anymore because he felt bad that they were singling him out as the superstar when Martin won the show, whether you agree with it or not. He's a winner. He should be the one talking first and getting the glory. It's his win.
He should have gone first. And it was, Chris is very aware. He seems very aware of the moment. So for him to give it to Martin and make sure that the luster stands on Martin, he won the show. Yeah. It's a good look. You know what I mean? Like, so listen, dude, real quick, Martin made some good money this year. Martin made some nice paycheck, not in addition to, I'm sure he's a bonus from Hostile, so kids are doing pretty good, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. But think about CBUM is doing what Lee Haney did, walking away at 29, 30 years old, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very fitting end for this career, right? You want to, but I guarantee he'll be at the Olympics in some fashion, some way, shape, or form. He's got to be at the Olympia even at the meet and greet. Do you bring him back to the meet and greet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's your cash cow for it. right? This guy, and Jake's a good businessman. Jake's not dumb. They all know like this dude brings numbers. He brings in numbers, man.
We were, you and I, you, me, Mandy, my daughter. No, my daughter had to leave. We were at the meet and greet last year, and we both saw everyone else had left. All the other athletes were gone, and there was still this ridiculous line waiting for Bumstead. He was far more popular than anybody.
And he stayed, Ron. He stayed. He stood up and greeted all those fans, man. So it's a different thing in the sport nowadays because we haven't had a star like this since Arnold. Really, if you think about it, that was really. And so this guy's he's moving on, and there's Urs or Sommerfeld. They have that kind of luster to carry the classic division on, right? Because 6 years has all been about CBUM. Now I'll be excited to see who wins, but after that win going forward, man, what's it like?
Oh, here's my prediction for Classic. I bet the same thing is going to happen in Classic as in Mr. Olympia. We're going to see a different guy win pretty much every year, and they'll trade wins. We'll probably see 5 different winners in the next 6 years. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and it keeps it exciting.
I want to address this comment because Mark says Samson's nowhere near the level of detail condition that Bumstead gets. Stop getting caught up with 300-pound nonsense. Well, Samson was in the worst condition out of these 4 guys. Hadi, Derek, Martin. A lot of guys in the Mr. Olympia are in better condition, but it's not a conditioning contest. Samson didn't win the Olympia because he was the most shredded guy up there. He's not. He's never going to be. I just don't see that ever happening. But that's another thing is I think condition seems to go a little further in Classic because they do have to get to that weight. You never have anybody really winning a top Classic title unless they're inside out peeled. Where in bodybuilding, someone could be, if they're so spectacular in every other aspect, like Flex Wheeler used to win shows at like 85, 90% because he was the best damn physique up there. There were always guys, every time Flex won, except for that Arnold, there was always somebody on stage in better condition than him, always. But it's not.
Windsor was the best conditioned guy on stage all the time, but he didn't win every show, right?
Windsor never won a show.
No, but he was the most shredded guy there was on that stage. Terry Pastel was shredded, but he didn't win shows. Lee Haney was out-conditioned by Rich Gaspari every time Gaspari took second, but he didn't need Gaspari's condition to win the show. It's a combination of all factors. Like I get blinded by condition too. I love condition, man. I love seeing guys that are shredded, that are hard, that are dug out, but that's not the be-all, end-all. You know what I mean? Like 300, it doesn't matter if he's 300 pounds. He had the best physique on that stage that day, a combination of size, symmetry, shape, condition. That's what goes in the bodybuilding, right? Like, I know people go, oh, he won 4 poses, he won 3, but you can win. It's just the overall balance of the physique. You know what I mean? I don't count poses. I've never counted poses. When somebody walks, you can look. You don't have to count poses. You can look at a guy and say, okay, he's going to win the show.
Right.
He's going to win. You know what I mean? You can do that. So, but we have got a lot of young viewers in the sport, right? We've got a lot of guys on social media that may have never been to a show, never been to a local show, never been to a pro show, right? That
100%.
They just see this. Oh, CBUM. I know CBUM. Well, do you know who like Hadi Chupan is?
Nope.
Right? It's where I gotta remember to not be so angry and just take a breath.
So yeah, Andrew Jack. This is a notorious survivor. Andrew Jack's same height as Chris, maybe a little taller. 300 pounds. There's no way this version of Chris beats Texas Pro version of Andrew Jack. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Andrew's a freak, man. Andrew's different. Like, Andrew's a different dude. I think the only person that could beat Samson is Andrew Jack, in my opinion. That guy he's next level. He just got to put it all together. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's beating Samson for anyone to be hard.
Yeah, Mark, again, it's market is not about condition is important, but it's not everything. It's not everything. So that's why the most ripped guy, it has to be the best combination of everything they're looking for. Structure, size, shape, proportion, condition. They're looking at everything. That's why a lot of people, like you said, they don't understand how these things are judged, and they get really upset Like they'll harp on one thing, like, well, this guy had better legs. Why didn't he? It's not a leg contest. It's not a condition contest. This guy's bigger. It's not a size contest. It's a physique contest, overall physique.
And the only time I've ever seen any kind of, since I think Tyler took over, there hasn't been really any bad, judging.
No.
Tampa with Akeem and Kamal could have gone either way, but there hasn't been one thing to go, oh, politics. It wasn't like it was. These people would lose their freaking minds if they would have saw how the judging was back in the day.
Dude, well, here's the thing about politics. I was hearing it was political. They don't want a classic guy to beat an open guy. I'm like, if it was politics, guys, 100% they would have picked Bumstead. He is so much better for the marketability, the popularity. He would bring more money to the sport. And that's what politics is. It's usually tied to sponsors and things like that. It all comes down to money. So if it was financially motivated and political, Chris Bumstead would have won that show. But people turn around and they put their own spin on things. Chris is better off doing the Arnold. He's not going to do the Arnold. Have you heard about? Has Martin said anything about the Arnold? Do you know?
No. I heard he may be doing Pittsburgh. That's what someone said, Pittsburgh. But Martin, he may need a break, bro. Like he's been pushing for quite. He's been April. He's been dieting since January, really, right?
Yeah, but
that's a long time push.
The only reason I ask is because a year ago he applied for the Arnold and they said, no thanks. We're good. We don't need you. They didn't feel Martin Fitzwater was worthy of their stage a year ago. I bet now they're like, please do our show.
And he's getting a huge fan base, right? Like a lot of guys don't compete like he does. A lot of young they don't. Lee Priest is awesome, man. That's just great to me.
Yeah, he said Chris should do the Arnold, but Chris is all done. I mean, but Samson's doing the Samson said he's doing the Arnold, didn't he?
Samson, Andrew Jack.
You're not beating Samson, Andrew Jack because it's December. It's almost December. It's mid-November. You'd have to start your prep for the Arnold like in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. And he's got listen. All of us have that meathead mentality, like just do it, man. Just get big, take. But it's his body, right? And he's got a kid. You know what I mean? And what's the point of upping the dose? You got a little kid at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mark is really harping on the weight thing. Well, Mark, let's just say that Chris Bumstead would win everything in the world in history and leave it at that because I don't want to argue with you. But
think about it. Remember the weigh-in at the 88 Olympia? All the weights were around the rate. The weights weren't what they were said. Lee Haney was 243 pounds.
Yeah.
Lee Labrada was 176, right? Yeah. So, but again, it doesn't matter what Samson weighs. He's just the better. Sometimes some guys are better. Ohio State is better than Michigan. Always. Period. That's how it is. And Samson is a better bodybuilder. Some guy at a pro level, man, the hardest thing to do in sports and in bodybuilding is admit when somebody's better. Like we've all been in shows where you walk backstage, you're confident. You see that dude in your class, you're like,
yeah,
he's better.
I mean, you and I, you talk about was it the 98 USA you did?
Yeah.
So you knew because I've been at the national level too, and you walk backstage, you could see those guys like I'm not beating that guy. You could see that they just have it. They just have that. Yeah. That structure, the size, you can see it even backstage when they're just like pumping up, and it is hard.
Steve Cantone looked like a brick wall backstage. He looked like a brick wall. Tito Raymond, I swear to God, had an aura around him, like Dave Chappelle. He had an aura. Tito had an aura, man. I'm like, I'm going home.
Yeah, an aura. Was it Giles posted something of I don't know where Chris was walking through the after party or the banquet. Oh. And it was literally like every biblical movie with Jesus going through the I'm not making fun of Chris. We all love Chris. But I wonder what it would take for people to turn on Chris. And I think some of the things we talked about, if they gave him $1 million to show up at the Olympia, if they gave him a placing at the Olympia that a lot of open fans didn't agree with.
Oh, yeah.
I think the classic fans would never turn their backs on him.
No.
But people that are sort of just fans of bodybuilding in general, they would say, "Fuck this! I'm sick of this guy getting
old guys like if he got like a 5th top 5 and didn't deserve that shit,
yeah,
people would riot, man. Like it's just social media is to blame for a lot of this, man, because
Yeah.
Anybody can have an opinion, right? And you can listen. Everybody can have an opinion. That's fine, right? But you guys got to realize there's a way to this. There's scoring. There's things in place that some fans have never looked into. Most of these guys have never judged a show, right? So it's good banter. It's good to hear and talk about. But like sometimes people put stuff. You're like, oh my god, just stop, people.
So it's never going to happen. So it's a moot point. But in sports, and we're kind of a sport. We're like almost a sport.
Yeah.
People are always comparing. What if Muhammad Ali fought Mike Tyson, both in their primes, or who's was Wilt Chamberlain better than Michael Jordan? Sports fans just love to debate this stuff, even though it's fantasy. It could never have happened. We're talking guys from the same era, but it's still interesting because this did come up a lot over this weekend because Chris went into Open, and there were a lot of classic fans who think he could destroy everybody if he decided to go Open, which I think he would do very. He proved himself. He did a great job, and he should be very proud of it. I'm sure he is. He did very well. He didn't look like a string bean.
No,
even though he was giving up a lot of size to Martin. He still looked pretty damn good.
He picked the right show too, right? It wasn't New York. Nick and Martin weren't there. You know what I mean? And again, if he's next to Nick Walker, who's like 5'6", 270, how does that look? Is he gonna beat Nick Walker? Right?
Well, okay, do I want to piss Nick Walker off right now? I'd say the best Nick Walker could probably beat Bumstead, but the last Nick Walker I saw back in May at New York Pro, Chris would have beat that. Martin almost beat it.
Yeah, man. Like when Nick's won, it's nasty. Like it's not pretty, but it's old school gnarly muscle, right? So it's just you got to realize that against these guys he held his own, but there's some heavy hitters in open bodybuilding, bro.
Yeah,
like open bodybuilding is they eat, and fans don't realize how much food goes into an open bodybuilder, like the amount of calories and being uncomfortable. And he's got an autoimmune thing, right? He doesn't want to eat 7,000 calories a day. That's your life 24/7. Those guys, it's 24/7, 365.
Let's go to some final comments and I'll let you go. I don't care how much Andrew weighs. Ham's glutes look soft. He's left side leg. Well, I mean, you could pick everyone apart, Mark. I mean, Bumstead's arms they're not very good. They're not.
Legs aren't great. Our legs aren't.
Legs are awesome. Beautiful shape, but there's some things. If he wants to move to Open at the Olympia level and do well, he's going to need a lot more back thickness, and his arms are going to have to come up. Otherwise, he's not in the top 5. There's no way. Martin looked like a puffed up garden gnome. Wow. CBUM beat him 100% prejudging, the very least. Absurd. He had no first place votes. I don't know. Do you think he should have had Chris should have had at least some first place votes during the judgment?
I could have seen him listen, he could have, but they could have been marked off, right? Because Martin has 3-3, so I don't know, man. It's still a muscle show to me, right? It's still size is important, bro. Like size is important. Martin kind of left it. He wasn't as dry in the prejudging, so I can kind of see where people can say that. But knowing Steve knows what the hell he's doing, right? And those judges know what the hell they're doing. And they felt that Martin deserved a perfect score. He wasn't Olympia Martin, but he was still big as shit. Like Martin is we saw him in Tampa sitting and watching the show. That's a big fucking man.
I mean,
so maybe I would have given Bumps to maybe give him 1 or 2 first place votes just because of the condition. The shape was good, right? But I don't know, bro.
I mean, I was really on the fence on Saturday. I still was giving it to Martin, and then I got Giles on for a few minutes, and he swayed me over to Bumstead. But then when I saw the next day, I said, well, Martin did what he needed to do. Him and Boss of Outlaws coach, they needed to come back tighter. The midsection, he was having issues that first day because he pulled his hamstring while he's posing.
Oh, so damn.
Yeah, you didn't hear that. That's why he
No.
was so screwed up, and that's why you saw during the judging he started spilling over. It was just stress. It's like he was in
Yeah.
pain. He was probably like fuck. He was trying. He
Oh.
played it off very well, but he was mentally he was gone by just a couple minutes into the judging. But he pulled it all together in 24 hours or less, whatever it was. So did what he had to do.
And he's got his qualification now.
Perfect score in the prejudging. Yeah, I mean, so it was a score of 3. There's 5 judges, so we know judging. They throw out a high and a low score, so it's very, very likely Chris did get 1.
He could
have got one first place vote, which still it's not what you would expect. You would expect more, but still. Let's see. This guy's. See, I only put that up because I know you can take it.
Oh, dude, there was a guy on Get Big who had Big My Cock Sucks. Was his
that was his name? Okay. Samson 300 steak is not peeled. The Dorian J peel. Yeah. The only reason I keep harping on the weight is just because it's a metric for comparing relative size and weight. A guy who's 5'4" and 200 pounds is bigger than a guy who's 6 foot and 200 pounds. You can't argue that fact, unless one's obese or something.
Yeah, but also Mark's got to realize too, Dorian was peeled at 92, 93, and 95, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful, Mark, when you throw it around those kind of things, because all those guys had an off month. We can always look back at Dorian 97, wasn't great, but he wasn't peeled. But Samson, what he brings is insanity. A guy that big around with a waist like that, and they could pull it. Every 300-pound guys we've seen can't pull a vacuum, have a waist. Fuchs, Dorian, those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are 300 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, Samson and Andrew are a different type of bodybuilder we have never really seen. And that's why, we keep talking about how the sport is changing, because we're getting different types of bodies that we've never even seen before. We've seen plenty of you can use the N word, and me and you can both use the M word, midget. We've seen the short, stocky guys over and over and over again in bodybuilding. There's never really been great tall guys. All the tall guys in the past, aside from Gunther, was pretty good. But most of them were just kind of like sideshows. Like, what's his name? Rolf Moeller. He was awful bodybuilder. he was
terrible, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at he was in the 87 Olympia.
88. He was 88. He won the Worlds in 87, I think, and they automatically get an invite. Him and Momo won the Worlds, and he did 88 Olympia.
Yeah, so I don't want to rip on Rolf. He's a great actor. I loved him in Gladiator, but we've never seen guys with this level of. Put it this way: if you saw Samson posing like this and you didn't know anything about him, you wouldn't know if he was 5'6", 6 foot, 6'5". You would have no idea. He doesn't look like a very tall guy or a very short guy because his limbs are nice and proportionate. Some taller guys, like Andrew seems to have taller or longer arms and legs. You see Andrew by himself, Andrew Jack on stage, that's a tall guy. So structurally, he's not as good as Samson, in my opinion, just because he doesn't have the perfect limb proportions. Samson's got a great structure, like remember Chris Cormier is another guy who reminds me from the past who had just a perfect bone structure.
Samson's a big Chris Cormier. That's what he runs, a bigger Chris Cormier. Nothing's overpowering. Everything flows, small waist. But people, Samson, he's learned that. He's got that formula, right? So, and the Arnold should be interesting, man, because he's got confidence now. When you have confidence, Martin says going to the Arnold.
Okay, wow.
All
this kid won't stop.
We got to look. Listen, you don't see that these days, man. Like, these guys do one show, take time off, man. I would love to see Lunsford hop in that shit. Just some excitement, to learn your body. Because you competing that once a year, it's great. Listen, it's their body, their physique, their career. But you're a pro, man. Like, get on that stage and prove it. Like, that you're getting a paycheck. You don't got to go to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ain't got no job. Diet.
It's Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do. But all right. So, Mark, this is the final statement. Yeah, Samson would not be 300 pounds, 305. If it was usually the condition we would like to see him in, what do you think he would weigh, Mike?
Who Sam? If he was like 290, maybe 287. It's hard, man, because he was lean. what if he gets that lighter and his things start disappearing?
Yeah.
So it's a fine line when we're talking about that, because when you get leaner, when I got leaner, my chest was never good. So the leaner I got, the smaller my chest got.
Yeah.
So with Samson, would that back disappear with that fullness? Would he not look like Samson at that light?
All right, this is the most important comment so far. OSU is better than Michigan at what? Volleyball, Mike? Ooh, I don't even know. Did they even have a volleyball team? Yeah.
We do have a volleyball team. We're better at them too, Kane. Michigan.
I think you better show the arm, and the reason why you're such an Ohio fan, like, that's why. No, that's the wrong arm. Oh, no, there it is, 216.
And we got
you got another one?
Oh, Chief Wahoo.
Uh-oh, you got to get that one removed.
I know. And there we go, Ron.
Ohio.
Buckeyes.
That wasn't a marijuana leaf. That was the actual.
That was. That's coming up next. That was the actual Buckeye leaf.
Okay. So is that the state flower for Ohio, the Buckeye?
Yes, the Buckeyes, safe flower. Kane, whatever, bro. We'll see what happens November 28th.
Oh, what happened with your cannabis vote?
They did not. We needed 60%.
Yeah.
It was 57%.
Wow. So this is Florida we're talking about, guys. Mike's in Florida now. Wow.
They like that small. It was, I don't know, man. Like, the problem is, it's just the tax money that you get from that is insane. Like, Ohio, I think, made like $14 million the first week. But there's a lot of gray-haired, old-school guys here too. It's just, dude, Florida's wild, bro. It's a different.
It's like a different country. I say there's the USA and then there's Florida.
Dude, it's wild, bro. Like, I saw a snake in my garage the other day too, Ron. So you know.
How big?
It doesn't matter. It's like this big. It was a snake. Call Mandy.
Because you have in the Everglades, you actually have pythons now.
Dude, they have python hunting stuff. There's python hunting there now because there's so many pythons. They do a hunt every year for pythons.
I think you actually even have crocodiles. You have like American crocodiles in Florida now.
Dude, we saw an alligator like a couple years ago driving on a very busy sidewalk, just laying there, hanging out. So yeah, that's why I leave the house.
Dude, I love that. So apparently CBUM has an open invitation from Arnold. Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that, of course.
Yeah, why would he?
If Bumstead goes into any show, they're gonna, even a show that's already all set, like the Arnold Olympia, they're good. They're gonna sell out. They're gonna get all their sponsors, but even they know with Bumstead, it takes them to another level because we don't have anyone with this type of fame that this kid has. It's amazing.
And I'm sure promoters are contacting him to do their show as well. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not gonna name any specific shows, but he's not doing those shows. If he does anything else ever, it's going to be an Arnold or Olympia. If he does, and I don't think he is. He made it pretty clear. Sean looked crazy. Clarita's back detail, yeah. Clarita looked amazing. I'm happy he was able to pull it together and get back to his normal look.
He filled out nicely. Now, is it up to be Keon? No, but it's a good look for him, man. Like, even Sean, he could do a couple open shows. Hit New York, hit Tampa, maybe he would. He's older too, Ron, right? He's 41, 42, I think.
I think he's 42 now, yeah.
42. So it's just, maybe just start doing some open shows because I don't know. I love Sean. He's my favorite 212 guy, but Keon's different, bro. He's that kid's nasty.
Someone just said Sean could have won. I think what kills it for me, the reason I couldn't have him winning is certain shots like that right there, so narrow across the shoulders. Structure counts. He's put a lot of muscle on a very, very small frame, tiny frame.
He's 5'1". He's not 5'2".
What do you say? You say if you go 5'1"?
5, maybe 5'1", maybe.
You say 5 foot. I mean, I know what I said earlier. Janet's 5'2", so I know where 5'2" is. And every time
when you see him in clothes, I'm like, no, come on, man, whatever.
Yeah.
On that stage, man.
He would sniff his farts. Oh my God, that's awesome. Charles would sniff CBUM's farts. Well, I mean, I probably would have done the same thing if I was there. Because
listen, maybe that would be a good tour, man. CBUM never agreed to it. A European tour with Giles. Can you imagine the hype for that? That would be absolutely insanity,
dude. I mean, it says I wonder. The thing with Bump, he's so famous. He's got so much money. I don't doubt that Giles could get something like this going. I just wonder, what would you have to offer this guy to make it worth his while?
Ronnie Coleman type money or more, probably Ronnie Coleman type, I would think, or maybe more.
I mean, Kamala had to pay Beyonce $10 million, right? To
Beyonce. So 10 million, bro. Yeah. 10 million.
They're all denying it, but anyway, man,
that's insane.
It's not enough money.
It's not. I don't think, man, I don't know if it is, because he can be very selective. Because you don't ever see him guest posing. He never guest poses.
Right.
Never does seminars. I think he said had some appearances with Raw a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Some stores, but like him and Nick, those guys can be. I don't know how much people guest pose anymore as far as the promoters. I don't see a lot of guest poses on flyers, especially even down here.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if he contacted some promoters, if he wanted to go, they would be okay with it. But you got to keep him in the sport somewhere. You got to keep him involved, man. Just.
I talked to Jay Cutler years ago about guest poses because he promotes his shows. He's got 2 here and he's got like 4 around the rest of the country. He said that the promoters don't do it because you don't make enough money. If you have to pay in the old days, I think a standard guest posing fee was like $5,000.
Yeah.
And that we're talking like 20 years ago or more, 30 years ago. They don't make enough profit, or they don't want to, because we have all these divisions now. They make all their money from the entries, obviously. And, people do crossovers, and the friends and family of all the bikini girls, figure, wellness, men's physique, classic guys. That's where they make their money. So having, maybe a Chris Bumstead would be a different story, but having the average pro show up at your event, it doesn't make sense financially anymore. Bumstead, though, I don't know. Bumstead, you could do like what Giles is going to do. What he's going to propose is you have just seminars where people get a chance to ask him questions, take pictures with him. And, it's a dedicated event just to meet Chris, hear him speak, ask him questions. Yeah, I think something like that would do very well.
And he's a very good speaker too. He's very aware of his like emotions and type of. He's not like us old school guys that don't think about our emotions and feelings. He's very aware of how he feels and living in the moment, and he's very positive, man. He's a very positive, like, and I think that helps too. He's not like a jackass. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys in our sport, we've met some assholes in our sport, but he's not that dude.
You know what it is? I've watched a good amount of his videos, and he's not only is he real, he's willing to talk about his vulnerabilities, that, when he's depressed or when he's insecure. He never puts on this fake macho swagger that we've seen for many, many years. That's just an athlete thing. That's just a guy thing. But I think a lot of fans can relate to him because, a lot of people out there do have mental health struggles and doubts and insecurities. And they're saying, wow, this guy's he's the Jesus of physique sports, and he still feels that way. I love this guy. Now I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. And it's just, if people latch onto that, bro, it's just with the supplements and everything he does turns to gold.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we've been going for an hour, man. I appreciate you. You're not working today, or are you working?
Yeah, I laid out back in June, bro. So I'm like,
welcome to my world.
So I'm just looking for work, bro. I was chilling, saw your thing pop up. Yeah, I'm happy with Ron.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I also have that T-shirt, by the way. I love that shirt, the one you have on.
Oh, yes. I did back and biceps, what you would call back and biceps. But I did do free bar bent over rows today. Wow. I'm sore. Everything hurts, but I got 185. I was so proud of myself. 185, bro.
I want to try. Do you have lower back issues or no?
Yes. But Mandy was at the gym today. So when she's not there, it's my ego day.
Well, see, I'm training back with Christian in a couple hours, and Janet says, you're really screwing this kid over, because when he trains with you, he has to do all the old man shit that you do. He should be doing all the barbell rows, the deadlifts, the free bar, he does on his own. I says, you're 100% right. I got this kid training like a 55-year-old that needs shoulder replacement and has bad knees and he's not. He's a young kid. He shouldn't be training like that. So you just inspired me, Mike. I'm going to do, even if it's only 135, it's worth it. I'll do it. Thank you.
It felt great, bro. It felt great. It hurt at the end, but dude, you know what I mean? I just missed that free weight shit, bro. I miss the barbells and dumbbells, and every now and then she goes, "Be careful." I'm like, okay. I just went there, just fuck it. But I just miss that shit, man. Like I can't imagine just Now, every now and then I'll do some like free weights, not too often, though, right? But every now and then I'll get a hair up my ass and I'll like, well, let's just do this today.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, when I interviewed Lee Priest, I don't think this was even on air. I think it was after we stopped recording. He talked about his training, and he's like, his shoulders are so messed up. He can only press like 70s at the most. And I said, shit, dude, I never thought I'd hear that from you, because now I don't feel so bad. I'm right there with you, man. Half the weight we used to use.
Dude, at one point when I remember I got like 365 for like 6 on bent rows at my heaviest.
Yeah.
I did 135. I'm like, damn, that was fucking heavy.
Yeah, well, Father Time is
Time, bro.
Undefeated. Yeah.
Gets us all, no matter what.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you hopping on like this.
Anytime, bro.
Anytime. Awesome. And that's it. Thanks to Big Mike Cox. Thanks to you guys for watching. Please do what it says on the bottom if you're not already. Subscribe, like, share, ring that bell, do all that good crap. And I will see you right here next time very soon. Later.